I see everyone here. Yep, everyone's here. Everyone's good. Everyone can see your screen. And I've started the recording, so we are recording now. So I'm going to turn it over to Nancy, who, let me just introduce you. Nancy and Jane are from Metro North, and they are currently running the Metro North Mentoring Program. And on the line we have Rhonda Hogan-Brock from our HR Training Department and Pam Noonan from our Operations Training Department. Our buses folks were not able to get on the webinar today, but I told them that I would record it and make sure that they have access to this replay, and they'll have access to the video, so they'll be able to see this demonstration as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nancy, who's going to give us a demo and give us, some more feedback on their program and the success of their program and how this all works. So Nancy, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, and Tony, I just want to confirm the important things that we're going to see today is basically how the system works and how the matching works. And is there any other topics that you really want us to cover? I know lessons learned, we're going to share that with you as well. Anything else?
I think that's it, unless anybody else wants to add anything. I'm sure there may be some questions, but that's perfectly fine.
I might have some questions. This is Rhonda. I may have some questions as we proceed,
Sure.
Come to mind. And should I hold those until the end and then pose them then, or should I interject at that point?
You know what? I think I'm going to go over each topic. Don't interrupt me, but I'll stop after each topic, and I'll say, okay, any questions on this topic?
Right.
Because I don't want to wait till the very end, because I really want you to, when we get to that point, let's ask the question, because we can dialogue about that.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask before I just kind of.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
So the way I wanted to start, I didn't show you all our communications, but I think one of the first things we did is make sure we had communications go out. This is just a sample of a reminder. Our program was self-electing. So the way that we got people interested is by sending out marketing literature. Our president, Joe Giuletti, sent out an email from himself, pushing the program and how important it is. So we definitely had senior leadership sending out information, and we were sending out information. It was easy for us to get mentees. It wasn't as easy always to get the mentors. So we did have to send out a lot of marketing. We did via email, on our television, on our website. Any questions on that?
Yeah.
How many people do you have in the program right now? We're limited to our classroom sizes. So we found the first time we ran it, we did 14 pairs. Okay. So we have 14 mentees and 14 mentors. When we did our marketing and we went out to reach people, we ended up in our first session with about 60, 70 mentees wanting to be in the program. And I think we had about half as mentors wanting to be in the program. So from that number, we dwindled it down. After the matching and discussions, we had 14 pairs.
In terms of lessons learned, was there any rhyme or reason or lesson as to why the response was poor for the mentors?
I think it's very important. They need to give time. They're not familiar with the program. Some of our mentors did go through the program a couple of years ago. So some of them understood the importance.
Similar program.
Yeah, similar program.
Similar program, but not exactly the same.
Do you want to talk about that, Jane? How you?
Well, I think to answer Rhonda's question about the mentors, I think they feel like it's more work. And I think some of them are shy, believe it or not.
How often do they? Like, how often do they meet? How often do they meet? Let me finish the course. Are we done understanding that you have to do marketing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so once we did the marketing, I just want to take you through, and then we'll go over like those kind of logistics. Once they do the marketing, they send me an email that they're interested. They fill out this information, and then I put them into the system. That's how we chose to do it. I think Ready has another way that they can go right into the system and set themselves up. We felt it was easier for a lot of the people out there who might not have been using the system that much to have me at least set them up initially. So after they were interested, they sent me this information, and then I went in and set them up in the system. Once I set them up in the system, an email automatically gets sent from the system telling them how to log in, giving them their username and password, and telling them to go in and fill out the general information and the matching form. So this goes out to everybody who had an interest in the program, or they're a mentee or a mentor. I customized this a little bit, so I wanted to make it really easy for the user to go in. But this is something you can customize as well. So at this point, we still had that large number going in and wanting to be part of that program. So that's how it starts for someone who's interested to be in the program.
Okay.
Okay, once they're interested in the program, they go in and log in, and the system basically looks like this for them. So Rennie just updated, so it's a little bit more user-friendly than it's been in the past. Let me just make sure I'm in the right person. I have a couple of usernames, so I'm going to go in. They go in with their email address. I have a couple, so I have, I'm not going in with my name. So this is the first time the user is going in, and their home screen looks like this, and you can see right here, this is where they're pointed to go right to the matching form and start to input that information. In addition, they're also pointed to my account. My account comes up right away, and this is a very important area. We customized this a little bit, so I probably suggest you do the same thing. You can run a lot of reports through the system. So here you can see some of the information that you're getting. Department, location is very important. Date of hire, especially if there's, do they have to be here at least 2 years before they're part of your program? Manager, EEO information, and how many total years experience they have. So Rennie would let you customize this for certain fields. He'll let you add or delete. We also gave him all our departments and our titles. We didn't want people typing this in because when we printed our report, we had some, the information was consistent. We were able to run some good reports. So this is information that we gave him. So this is what the user does. First thing they do is they fill out their information, and then they go right in and then do their form. So I want to take a look at the form. And we customized our form, and I can send you a copy of this.
Nancy, can I just talk?
Sure.
I just pipe in so that they understand that if there are certain fields in the tables that you just saw that you can give Rennie an Excel spreadsheet, and he'll upload a lot of that stuff for you. Because I can only imagine if we have, X amount of, how many, were there like 300 job titles or something, Nancy?
Yeah, I did it from
like that?
I did it from a BSC report. So I asked, I got the report of all, I filtered a report to get all our titles and to get all our departments and locations. And I wanted that to be, pull down information.
So I can only imagine what you guys have if we have that many.
It can be free form. If you don't want, if that's not important to you, then it could just be free form as well. But I think it's important, especially from department, because you want to see if people are in the same area, and if it's free form, they might type their department name a little differently than somebody else. So I think the department is a good thing to have as a pull down. Any other questions on that?
In terms of this is a question more, I don't know if it's you, Nancy, or Jane, but
sure.
What title did you focus on in terms of your mentoring? Did you have any particular specific title that you, Metro North, was implementing the mentoring relationship?
Go ahead, Jane.
No, it is application only.
Okay.
And we, like I said, we were limited because Rennie will tell you that you shouldn't really have, if you want a high-touch mentoring program where they're meeting a lot and you're doing your quarterly meetings, it shouldn't be more than 20 to 25 pairs because then you're talking about groups of 50 people, 40 to 50 people.
Right.
So we Yeah, I know what you're saying. In other words, you could say, like, we're going to focus on superintendents because that's where we have succession issues.
Yeah, well,
we have succession issues everywhere.
Oh, so you didn't have the title wasn't, it could be any title.
Right, as long as you were that if you were going to be a mentor, you had to be a manager or above. And if you were a mentee, I think the matching, did we do at least one level above, Nancy?
Yeah, it had to be one level
Yeah.
above. So the mentor had to be at least, if I was an assistant director, the mentor had to be at least a director and above. That's why title is very important here too, because when you're doing your matching, you're going to refer back to this information to make sure that there is a difference in title.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I have to say, with our program, we left the title open, as Jane said, and we got people wanting to be in the program, everything from, a senior director, down to a very beginning manager. So we had a lot of different levels of interest in the program for mentees.
How long is the program?
Though.
Excuse me? I heard both people.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Pam.
I was saying it's a non-represented only, though, non-union.
Right. How long is the program?
Our program runs for a year. I would, and I was talking to Jan about this, I wouldn't make it less than 9 months, and I wouldn't make it more than a year. I think somewhere in 9 months, after 9 months, you see a little bit of a slipping.
Okay.
So you have to be really, contacting them, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I think somewhere between 9 months and a year is a perfect time. Okay, so after they get their information, and you guys understand the importance of them filling out their information correctly in my account, then they go right to their matching form. So it's pretty user-friendly, the system. And especially when I told you I customized my email that tells them how to go in, I gave them those directions, fill out my account, then go right to the middle of your screen and click on the matching form and complete that. So here in the matching form, he divides we used his template, and we used quite a few of his questions.
When you say his, you mean the guy?
Rennie's, yeah.
That's the
Rennie.
account manager or whatever?
Yeah,
he's
his company.
at our place a couple of times.
So what I found is I used his template, but I edited some of the text, And I think that, especially on what you're focusing on, you might want to change some of your focus areas. The purpose of our program was for development, career development, personal development. I know your objective of your programs are a little different. So when we're asking them about focus areas, we wanted to see where they were interested in spending the time during the mentoring relationship. And this is part of where we started the matching, because the mentees and the mentors get the same questions. So we're hoping to find a mentor for this person that also wants to teach somebody how to develop good qualities of a leader, or teach somebody how to handle conflict. So here you see team leadership. And then a question was asked, please elaborate on anything that's important. So here this person says, as a new manager, I would like to develop my team building skills. These paragraphs are really important because after the numbers and you kind of say, okay, this is a basic match, these paragraphs become very important for you to understand a little bit more about what the person wants to get out of the program. So if you look at the top, we started with team leadership, management skills, trying to see what's important for this mentee. Here this person says they only manage a small team. Now they're going to be managing a larger team with a bigger budget. We're hoping to find a mentor that matches with this person that has handled large budgets. Professional development, self-development.
Do you limit how many categories within each, how many clicks, how many check-offs they should make within each category on team leadership?
Yeah.
Or they can, put all of them?
Let me see.
Up to 3
to
times.
3. Up to 3. You might have seen. It's up to 3.
Or up to 3.
You might have seen me check mark more because I was just this is a test person.
Okay.
So I was just testing some things out, but it is up to 3.
Okay.
That's what we say up in the instructions.
And also, I don't know if Nancy, if you said that all these competencies or topics are your choice. Like these are things we made up like 2 years ago when we started doing
Oh,
it.
okay. So you could put anything in there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. It's kind of, that's where
Okay.
you're, when you do the objective of each one of your programs, this is where you might want to customize a little bit. You know, Pam, I went to the Lominger competencies, and some of these came out of there as well.
Sure.
I
Sure.
tried to now start to
Yeah, why
map up.
reinvent the wheel?
Yeah,
Because I think that they're great competencies.
but that's for ours, which was professional and career development. So
Right.
if yours is different objective, this is where you might really want to sit down as your committee or your team and think about, you know, what are you really looking, what does somebody really
Right.
need to do to meet that objective?
I have a question, Nancy.
Sure.
And you may have said this already. This form is for the mentee.
And the mentors. Right
And
now,
the-
the mentee's filling it out.
Excuse
The
me?
mentor is going to fill out almost the exact same form. I'm going to show you that in a sec.
Yeah, because it seems like this is more geared to the mentee, but the mentor also fills out a form?
Yeah, almost the same exact form. But
Okay.
you see here it says, I'm sorry if I'm hurting your eyes, it says, you know, read through each and select up to 3 topics you would like to work on with your mentor. When we're working on the mentee side, we're going to say read through each focus area and select 3 topics you'd like to work on with your mentee. You know, or 3 topics that you feel you can offer a mentee. And that's how Rennie does the matching. So these have to match on both sides. So
Got
when
it.
Rennie's system does the initial match, this is what they're looking at. So it's almost exact on both sides.
And the rating that they have to apply,
It's at the bottom, how important it is for them.
is that
Right here.
given to them?
Excuse me?
Oh, I see, importance rating. So it is, they choose it. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was a legend or something. So basically
Mm-hmm.
this is it. Right.
And this is good for the committee because, you know, you really want to see, you know, is it very important that this person has development skills, or are they looking more for management skills? This is all when the committee is really looking a little deeper into the matching. They
Mhm.
start to look at some of these areas.
Right.
So this is all for, you know, this is the reason I said template, because I had to keep in this template, because this is how the program starts to do the matching and come up with, you know, the first level of match.
Uh-huh.
So we definitely have to keep this. We can just put our own information in, but the information has to match basically on both sides, the mentee and the mentor.
Okay. When you say the first level of matching, there's several?
Well, the first level was just to come up with the way it's been answered, right? So then like almost like Match.com, it's almost like that. Like, okay, this is how I'm answering my questions. This is how the mentor is answering the questions. And then he comes up with his own, what would you call it, Jane? What does he call it? It's all numerical, behind scenes.
Oh,
Also-
algorithm.
Algorithm, thank you.
Algorithm.
So, yeah, he doesn't tell us how he does it, but this is how the algorithm works. And it'll come up, okay, these 2 people match 75%. That's why I say is the first level, because
Okay.
after you see the number, then your committee wants to look a little deeper, not just rely on the number 100%.
Okay.
So we started with this. We started with the number, and then as a committee, we went a little deeper into how they answered some of the questions.
I see.
For example, right in front of you with number 4, you know, this person said, I only manage a small team. I really want to work with a senior manager who's responsible for multiple departments. So hopefully we can match this person up with someone who has managed multiple departments. So we're going to look at how they matched, you know, with their percentage, and then we're going to go in and read a little bit more about this person, give it a more personal touch. Does
Do
that
you
make
ever
sense?
come into a situation where there's somebody unmatchable?
You know, when I show you the match, we kind of look, believe it or not, we did 50, 60% and higher. We thought was a decent match. We had so many mentees, we haven't really got to the point where someone was totally unmatchable.
Okay. That's
Well-
good.
Well, wait a second.
I know. Go ahead, Jane.
Wait, what was the exact question? In other words, are you asking? if
Ever
there's-
have
if there's
a candidate that was unmatchable?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll tell you why. It really depends on the matching software as our primary match, because that's why I'm hesitating, because I'm thinking I may not be answering your question right. You could have somebody not match because there's no mentor that wants to work on the same things. Because remember, you're matching both these people are filling out this form, so you're matching both of them based upon what they both want to work on. or that what they have to offer. So
Okay.
you typically, what we run into, and I think this is maybe what Nancy meant, is we ran out of mentors. So they didn't match because we didn't have a mentor that matched with them. But yeah, absolutely, you can have people who don't match.
Okay.
And the other thing, Ron, that's really important, that even though maybe they'll match in a number, they came out, they matched 65%, but when we looked a little deeper into what they wrote about themselves or what they were interested in, we were like, well, the number matched, but really what they were both interested in working on, we didn't think it was a good match. So the system will always find a number, your highest percentage that you match with. It could be 50, it could be 70, but that's why it's important to go into these paragraphs and really look at how they answered them.
Yeah.
That answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm just going to go down the self-development, business acumen. A lot of people are interested in learning more about Metro-North, about the railroad. So those are the basic questions just on focus areas. Then this is his second section, which we use as a template, and we filled in some of our own questions. These are the open-ended questions. They're not used as much in the algorithm, but they're used for the committee to look a little bit more about this person. Why do you want to participate in the programs? Any concerns? Support you'll need. Really want to find out a little bit more about them.
Really, yeah. That's
very important. I found this to be almost the most important part. Next time, one of the most important things is that the people who are coming through the program, the mentees, have set goals that they want to work on. And believe it or not, even that could take almost a month or two before the mentee can really identify goals they want to work on. In our next program, I'm going to have one of these questions are going to be, what goals do you want to work on if you are part of this program? I want them to start thinking about it then and not, when the program starts, because a month is a lot of time to waste, it's just thinking about your goals. So a very important part is that each mentee really knows what they want to do. We don't want them to be in this program because it looks good or just because they want to work with a senior leader.
Kind of
really
like
look at
planning.
Excuse me?
I said it's almost akin to strategic planning.
Yep, exactly.
As it relates to you and your career.
Yeah. And so I think next time I'm going to put a question in here, what are one of your goals? So they can start thinking about that. And we can see, like, if someone has a goal, I just want to meet people outside of the department, well, it's hard for a mentor to work on that. So we want to make sure that, it's something that the mentor can work on, as well as the mentee will get something out of it. Just look at number 15. Here I've just been promoted to a director and manage 2 departments. I see myself growing and being successful. This is a person that we'd look at and say, wow, a senior leader can really maybe work with this person on developing them to move up the ladder at Metro-North. If you look at number 16, I want to be exposed to what it takes to be successful at MNR. I also want to learn more about the railroad. And then they wrote, and I also want to be exposed to other areas of the railroad. So again, these are some meat and potatoes that we think a mentor can really work on with this person.
Yeah.
Not just fluff. Okay, so then section 3, this is important for Renee's algorithm as well, mentoring preferences. I changed maybe a little bit of the wording. But both of them get asked this question. And this is a characteristics that you want in a mentor or a mentee. So here it says a mentor who has formal book knowledge. And then it'd say, I'd like to work with a mentee who wants to learn from my knowledge, more than from books. So the question will match up, and they'll both get the similar question. And then it goes down to personal characteristics. These also part of his algorithm. Do you want someone who's assertive? Really, this is part of their relationship building. So you don't want someone who's totally laid back to be matched up with someone who's totally assertive.
Oh, please.
They might not feel comfortable with each other.
That would be a collision course.
They need training on how to get along now. So he has a whole bunch of those. Again, you could look at these. It's definitely editable. And then it goes down to what he says is the most important for him. What are you looking to get? What do you want your mentor to do? So he has teacher, sponsor, cheerleader, counselor, and trusted advisor. And when he said he does the algorithm starts working, this is one of the areas that it starts to look at first. So, this person, 5 is the highest. This person's really looking for an advisor and not looking for someone to teach. The mentor gets asked this question too, right? So they're both getting asked this question, what role do you want to play? So if someone really puts a 5 at teacher and someone's putting in a 1 at teacher, they're really not a great match because they're not really going to have the same things that they want to work on.
Yeah.
So you have to look at these a little bit more on your own. I can print this out and send this to you. And again, I would suggest reading it and editing it for your programs. The person submits it, and that's all they need to do. At the next step, we don't. Go ahead.
They submit it electronically.
That's it. You see me submit? It just went into the system.
And that goes to, does that go right to Mentoring Complete, or that goes to M&R?
Mentoring Complete. I'm going to show it to you in a second. So I'm going to go out of this as a person, because right now I'm in here as a person. I'm going to go out. I'm in here as Robert. I'm going to go out and go back in as Nancy, who's the program manager. So right now you see me in here as one of the applicants, Robert. See that? And he's the mentee. See that, guys?
Yep. I see it.
So it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy for the user to feel comfortable with the system at this point. They go in, they do their My Account, they do their matching form, and you see now it's completed. So I'm going to, any questions on what the applicant sees? And I don't need to show you the mentor, because an applicant who's a mentor is going to see almost the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go out. I'm going to go in as the program manager. So you see I go in with my email.
Yes.
And then you can customize you can customize the initial password.
And I forget. This is the question for, I guess, for both of you, more so Jane. Is this the first year that you've done this type of a mentoring, retaining management mentoring? Is this the first year that Metro North has done,
I don't think so.
mentoring program with a consultant?
Well,
I don't know if she's...
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, good.
Yeah. This is just started the second year, so with Management Mentors, and we had a program a couple of years ago with it was a 12-week program, really different than this program. So when you hear people talk about like the old program, they're talking about one that ran in like 2011.
Yeah, well,
which is very different.
The transit, but it was internal, and we didn't engage any kind of consultant.
Right.
Matching and all of that. That was my question. Is this the first time or first year that you engaged an outside consultant to help matching? No. Okay.
No, because that old program we're talking about was also run by a different consultant. Now, at that time, she didn't have a website. I understand she does now.
Okay.
But it was all done manually, and I have to tell you, it was a nightmare
Really?
to do it all manually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there with reams of paper. There's no, I mean, at least with the matching number, the percentage, you have something. I mean, objective's not really the word, but you have something sort of to go by, a place to start. Other than that, you're just sitting there looking at applications, and unless you have a very, very set way that you want to match people up, whether it's department or whatever, it's really hard to do it just with paper.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, I got a lot of good report material out of the system that I needed when I gave it to my committee to do the matching after I was matched. So the reporting was good.
Right.
That was very helpful for me and the committee. Okay, so here I'm into Program Manager. You see my screen's a little different. I'm not going to go over the whole screen with you. I want to go right into matching because I know that's important for you. So after the deadline passed, let's say the deadline was April 15th, the next day I would go into the system and we can start our matching. So I want to start talking about, we have a committee that we bring together to be part of the matching process. The first time we ran through it, Rennie came and helped us with some of the matching.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jane and I were on the committee the second time. I think that we really need to be organized. You need a very strong committee, definitely representation from senior leader, people, who know a lot of the departments or a lot of the people, because you need a lot of suggestions from a lot of different people, not just one department or only people who know like certain areas. So I think at this point our committee met. We said, okay, we're going to start going through the matching once. So you go through it once just as an initial match. Then you go through it more than once. You have to meet 2 or 3 times to really start to solidify your matches. So I just want you to know that this is the first time we're going through it as a committee. It's a 3-step process. Now, you're only going to see people listed here who have submitted their form. So if they didn't submit their matching form, they're not going to be listed in this list.
Mm-hmm.
So here you can see I was just in as Robert, and I submitted my form, and now he's listed here as a mentee who's ready to be matched. Okay? That's it?
I see it.
Okay. So do you see Robert names up on top? So now at the bottom, we're going to start to look at some of the people that the system is matching him with. And the first person I want to take a look at is Maria. Maria happens to be the top mentor, according to the algorithm, that Robert is matching with. So you can see that number's at 70%.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys all see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, what's nice here, you can see the mentee details. That's coming from the My Account information. So right away you can see a little bit about the person, and you can also see the My Account information coming up from the mentor.
Mm-hmm.
So we would say 70 was pretty good. It goes from 70, this one's jumping down to 56. So you can see Robert looks like he's a pretty good match right away with Maria.
Did you find anything in your experience where, like, if they were too much alike, it was like too much alike that they didn't have an opportunity?
Yeah, we would never
didn't
trust
have
this
an
number.
opportunity to grow?
Pam, we would never trust this number. We use it as an initial, okay,
Right.
wow, this looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But you see here where it says MS,
Mm-hmm.
this is, you can compare both of their matching forms. This is where, Rhonda, you see, if we couldn't even do this
that's
manually,
cool.
it'd take forever. So now
Right.
we can look up.
That's nice.
We go, yeah. Oh, look, they both want to work on, like,
Right.
developing, being a good leader or handling team conflicts. And then we look at these paragraphs. This Robert's a new manager. Maria's been working at MNR for over 20 years. Wow, this looks like this could be a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might look at this and say, oh, my God, these, even though they might have matched with the numbers, what they're looking to get out of the program is totally different.
Yeah.
But it's nice because you can see side by side
Right.
a little bit about what they're saying.
PM can see that, right?
What's that?
Only the program manager gets to see that?
As a program manager, when I met with the committee to do the matching, I brought this up on the screen. So the
you
committee
shared
did see this.
Mm-hmm.
I also ended up printing it out in a report because what we found, and I keep on repeating this, these paragraphs are as important as the number that came up in the matching.
Right.
So
But committee members can't just go in and do it, right? Just the PM can have
only the
access?
PM. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, I remember reading in the
Yeah.
contract.
That's at my
Now,
first
you know,
meeting. Okay, go ahead, Jane.
Nancy raised a good point too, and I don't know. It depends on the size of your program if you're going to have this luxury, and who your program encompasses. But it was also, we tried to have representation from a lot of departments on our our committee or advisory board. I mean, it is only 6 people or something, but it really helped when you get down to it, like who knows the person and who knows their style. And you don't always have this luxury. But if you do get to that point, once you've sort of gotten through your, the matching point, and then, making sure that you don't have, and there's a lot of different things that Nancy came up with, like making sure that you don't have too many people in the same department, that, that you understand what it is you're trying to achieve through the matches. And we haven't had any, I think we came close to a no fault divorce last year. But then the two of them actually worked it out.
Good.
Well, that's
So,
a learning experience in itself then.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So we haven't had any divorces yet, and you do set it up. You know, Nancy can tell you about that. You do set it up front with both of them, saying, "Hey, if it doesn't work, it's a no-fault divorce."
That's great.
Yeah, and Rennie does do that in his training. He lets them. It's very clear.
Uh-huh.
But
So he comes in and he gives the mentor-mentee training also.
he was training me to start to take over from him.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely bring him in to do the first one. I think I was talking to Tony. Like he needs a help with someone to facilitate and maybe bring in some of the techniques that you want to use. You know, at the MTA, I brought in some training techniques I wanted to use at Metro North, but Rennie has the knowledge to walk in and do this part.
Uh-huh.
But I wanted to facilitate with him a little bit because you know, he's not a trainer, and you know, we wanted a little bit more than what he was giving us, so we worked with him to create the program. He did most of the kickoff though. He does a good job on those. Definitely would use him for that.
Right.
With
some support. I'm being
And
honest.
I will tell you, I'm a mentor this year, and he really, his depth of knowledge is very deep. So, you know, he was able to give me some feedback right away when I was sitting in the session working with my mentee, and I could tell, I mean, he really is very perceptive when it comes to mentoring. So his knowledge is, he's, like I said, he's not a trainer, but his knowledge about mentoring is very deep.
Good.
Yeah, we can talk. I think Tony and I were talking about a little bit about that, you know, to add some, you know, a little bit more professional workshop stuff along with him, but he did a great job with that.
Right. So I guess in the beginning, it's really important when we're mapping out our programs that we have the right people on the team to create them up front.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Whenever you guys roll out talent management, do you see incorporating a piece of this in there? I guess not in PeopleSoft, but in the process.
Well, you know, Pam, they keep on bringing up mentoring, right? And that there is an option to like list your mentor there. We started with the competencies. We're trying to like, you know, put those competencies in here so people see them at different places.
Yeah, that's great.
And to have it listed in the talent management, yeah, I have a mentor. This is who I worked with. Jane, do you want to say something else?
Well, I was just going to say, eventually, yeah, well, everything will be lowering your competencies.
Yeah.
That would be nice, right?
Sure would.
Everything matched.
Yeah. So we tried to start that here, Pam. And as for the talent management, you know, system itself, I think that we would list the mentor there.
Cool.
And hopefully all these competencies kind of, you know, work together.
That's good. I wish Lorianne, I'm actually, you know, I'm glad that we're recording this so that Lorianne should have the opportunity to, you know, look at this as well because, you know, she's kind of the head of talent management to see that, you know, everything is kind of flowing in the same direction.
Exactly.
Right. And kind of works together or works in tandem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to bring up, it's not easy with your committee to go through this matching process. So we did have some guidelines, you know, because we want, you know, we don't want personalities to get in the way. We don't want like, I don't say gossip, but anything that, you know, if you've worked with somebody, maybe somebody knows somebody on a different level. So we definitely had some guidelines the first time we went through. The first time you're going through, you're just looking for initial matches. And I can match Robert up with as many mentors. I may say, okay, I think he's going to work with these 4 right now, right? I don't know at the end where I'm really going to decide, but at least you can start to pick 2 or 3 that you think might be a good match. You don't want to spend tons of time at this point. You're just going through the initial process. So as I go through some of them, I'll then hit the Save button, and those will be the initial matches for him. So you see each one of this has a Save button. So I'll be able to eventually print out a report of each one of my mentees and the 3 or 4 people that I might maybe match him up with. So all of this can be done in a report too. So you go through this process pretty quickly. This is just looking at the system and coming up with what you think are possible good matches for this person. Once you finish your mentor, then you go down to your next mentee, and you do the same thing. This is Mary. You know, she happens to match with Maria also, but not at 70. She's at what? What do you see? She's at 60, right? Not as great a match, but definitely could be a match. So I definitely would probably put her in as a save after I looked at information. I could also see how their scores are matching up in the focus areas. But for us, the most important thing was going here as a group and looking to see, what they wrote about. So you go through that with each one of your mentees and come up with some initial matches.
How long is devoted? How much time is devoted to the matching component?
I should tell you at least 4 sessions. And, we'll give you some of our guidelines, I think, and Jay and I talked about it. The first time Rennie was with us, I wouldn't say he was as helpful because you really need to sit down with your committee and really, go deeper than this number. So I think the first time you go through at least once or twice depends how many mentees you have. If you have 30 mentees and you don't have any filter like, okay, I'm just looking for people who are directors and above, you're going to need to go through each one of these. We went through each one of our mentees. We thought that was only fair.
And I will tell you, it is a painstaking process. It is painstaking. So I would say we probably spent, each meeting was 2 hours, and you just got to go line by line, Yeah.
We'll help you speed it up a little bit. We're learning from some of our own, trials and errors. But I think one of the things I learned that this first initial matching you want to go through quickly, just to get the initial matching in, because the next step is we print out a report, and then if Robert has like 3 mentors that he might match with, then we really need to go a little deeper and start to look at what both of them have written.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also look, we don't want people to be in the same department. That's when I said it's so important that it's a pull down for the department, not free form, because I could see if it's in capital letters, I know that's my pull down. I can see that they're in different departments if that's important to me. And, I can see gender. I can see, wow, this person wants someone who's been with Metro-North for a lot of years. This person's been with Metro-North for 10 years. So this is giving me some more detailed information about that match. If I have a lot of males and I'm looking for a female, other things are coming up here. So that's really the second level. You go, okay, well, Robert matched with these 3 people. Let's take a deeper look and see which one we think is the best match. That took about 2 or 3 times to come up with, then our matches that we think are going to be finalized. So I think you need to give yourself 1 or 2 sessions for the initial, and then maybe 2 or 3, how fast you guys get to work, with really coming up with the final matches. So Rennie says you can do it in 2 days. We have not done it. I don't think you guys will be able to also. I think, if you're just going to go by the numbers, yeah, you can do that like in 1 day. But if you really want to go a little deeper to make sure your matches are working with what, your goals are, then you really have to spend a little bit more time on what they're writing. Once it's done, and I'm not going to save, I'm only going to work with Robert. After you did your initial matches, you say, okay, we finalized our matches. Everybody only has 1 check mark, 1 mentor to 1 mentee. Oh, I'm sorry, this refine step is where you get to refine. When you click on refine, you would see all the people that this mentee is matched. This is where you do the refining and you select your mentor. Right, so if Sydney, who's a mentee, did the initial match with 3 mentors, here's where we would actually put in the one we're selecting. Let me go down to the one I was just working on. Let me go back up for a sec. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to match Robert with Maria. I didn't really finalize that. I'm going to match him. Excuse me, give me a second to get back up. So here you can see that Robert is a proposed match with Maria from the previous screen I just did. So now I'm going to say I want them to match. So you see that's his proposed match. That's his second step of the mentoring process. And then his third step of the mentoring process, I did this at the very end after my kickoff. I didn't want to do this before the kickoff because they're going to get an email. So after my kickoff, I went in and finalized the matches. And then everybody gets an email. And the emails are generated from the system. So that's the matching process. You start out, they go in and input their form. The committee takes an initial look, comes up with, proposed maybes. In the refinement, they select the one that they want to match this person with, and then they do a final. Questions on the matching? Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
So the refining is the proposed, and then the final is the finalized.
Yeah, because in the refining, I might have seen Robert matched with 3 mentors, so I would have seen them all listed. Like this is a sample. She's matched, proposed with 2 mentors.
Yeah, that was my next question. Can you propose more than one mentor? But the final has to be 1.
Then here I have to select 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I say don't waste too much time in the first round, because you just check off. Okay, these are 3 we think might work. Even though you might not think it works, 3 of us think it's going to work. Let's just check them off right now.
Right.
Let's get our initial, because I think the refining is when you really go in and start to do the work.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what's good about his system, because every one of these screens, we can print out a report. So we can actually see a report of the mentee and all the proposed mentors. So the committee can see that on paper.
Right.
And then the final. Once they're finalized in the system, now they're part of the system.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And that's how it works. Questions on that? So as a program manager, this is where I go in and I can assign forms, schedule. He'll teach you how to use his system. But I thought another really important part for me was the reporting. I can get a lot of Excel reports, activity reports, and this I used for my committee. Any questions, guys?
I just have a question for you as the program manager. Did you find that it was straightforward, given the facilitation of this process?
Can you say it again? Something beeped in while you were talking.
I said, as a program manager, this is for Nancy.
Yeah.
Did you find this straightforward? In terms of how it facilitated this process, this mentoring complete.
The system or the
matching this system. Did you find it, straightforward for people to apply and, and have that facilitation with mentoring complete?
Honestly, with my support, because when I didn't like Rennie's emails, I think for our population they would have got lost with the way he was writing, his activation email. This is I redid my my activation email, so I knew I wanted to make it. Honestly, I don't think one person called me and said they couldn't do this, which I was really happy about.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep on saying to you, I think his program is good, but there was some customization. I had to go in as a program manager, for Metro North. And this was one place.
I see.
Actually, Nancy did a lot of work. We had Rennie here one day. We went through all the screens. And, you're going to have to invest some time, because I'm not sure he took, all the stuff that we customized and, automatically brought it over to other people's accounts. You know what I'm saying? So you do need to go screen by screen and decide whether it's the way you want it. So,
right.
you need to be ready to do that.
Yeah, you know, you have to look at everything. I know he made an update since we first started, you know, with him with Metro-North, the updated system. You know, I think a lot of the comments we gave him, he was going to put into effect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but this is something, you know, we could share with you. I think your system will be, you know, be the same. You know, how you log in and how you get into his system is basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I said, you know, I found the account information was really important, and I didn't want them to do freeform. So as Jane said, it wasn't that difficult. I just gave him an Excel spreadsheet, but made sure that he had all our titles. You kind of saw in the summary, and when you print your Excel reports, you use this information for filtering. So that was something else we decided.
Also, his website support is in India, and he will give you their emails and stuff like that. But just be aware, you know, you've got.
I can't hear you. You said his website is in
his
where?
website support. His support is in India.
I didn't hear the support. Okay, it's in India.
Yeah.
All right.
Jane, one of the guys just moved to Boston.
Oh, really?
One of his guys, yes, just moved to Boston.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's stateside now. Okay.
That's good. You don't have to write him at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I hear you.
But they're also pretty good at getting back to you. So I have to say the system support was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the system is pretty easy to use. You saw what I did. It wasn't difficult. I had no problems. I had to learn as a program manager. So whoever's going to be your program manager is going to have to learn how to use, you know, the other features. But as for the, you know, the employees, it's not hard at all.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the forms come out right in front. I'm just going to exit out for a second.
All right.
I wanted to just let you guys know something that's going on with the contract, because I have to say I don't know how this is going to affect you, because I know you're kind of whatever writing our contract means. But we were up for expiration with Rennie because this contract was actually issued a couple of years ago, and we only activated it last year. And so our procurement processor said, well, it's fine and dandy that you didn't activate it for 2 years, but it still has to expire. So after sitting down and looking at our options, we decided to kind of go the sole source route because of the amount of customization that's been done and the amount of work already put into this particular tool. Right. So we're just starting that process of the sole source. So they gave us a 1-year extension, and I've never been through the sole source process before. So we're going to try and go down that route. So I just want you to be aware that that's in play. But right now we're good till next July.
Okay.
Yeah, and I spoke with our procurement folks, and what they advised me to do is to go ahead and get started with the requisition. I spoke to Rennie, and we're going to go for 1 year. We're going to ride your 1-year extension. So we're going to add him on for 1 year, and once you guys complete your process of the additional years, then we're going to add the 2 years on.
Okay, because today I'm told that if we are successful with the sole source, that is 5 years.
Oh, okay, that's good.
That's what our people told me, but I have to make my case.
Okay. All right, well then that's good.
Yeah.
So, once we get up and running, it should be easier for us to add the 2 years, and then we'll figure it out from there.
We'll figure it out. Like, who knows where we'll all be in 5 years, right?
Tony, I have a question. This is Tony. In
Yeah.
terms of contract, I know we're going to piggyback on their 1-year extension so we can get up and running.
Right.
2 years, now we, on the 2 years, we're not going to still be writing their contracts, are we?
I'm not sure how that's going to work, but the way procurement told us was that we could if we needed to. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The last thing I wanted to show you guys, you see how easy it is for the user to use it? I mean, the forms that we need them to fill out are right in front.
Yeah.
They can schedule their meetings right through here, and it goes through Outlook. So if the mentor and mentee are scheduling a meeting for Monday morning, we do ask that they do it through here. And it'll go right into Outlook as well. So that's about the only time they're going to be going in here to look at their forms, schedule their meetings, and there is a place where you can put your material. So
Did
your
you-
workbook,
Okay.
your handout, it can
Mhm.
all be stored up in guides.
Did you put any meeting requirements on the mentoring relationship? In other words, was they required to meet a certain amount of times within a prescribed month, or was
The
there
way
any
we run our program, the kickoff is 2 half days. So the mentors come in the morning. The mentees come in the morning. The mentors come in the afternoon. That's their training on how to be a mentor and mentee. The second day, they all come together, and that's when they start their relationship and do some pairs training. So the
I
kickoff
didn't
is 2
mean
half
that.
days.
I didn't
What?
mean that. I meant how many times, how often they
Oh.
meet.
Yeah, so then our requirement after the kickoff was once a month, for at least once a month.
Oh,
That's
okay.
our requirement for 1.5 hours. And then we bring them back for quarterly sessions as a group. So we bring them back for quarterly sessions to touch base, go over any issues, and do a little bit of mentor and mentee training. So that was their commitment.
And who facilitated that training? You guys did it yourselves?
We
Or
did
was
it with
it
Rennie the first time we
with
did
Rennie?
it. 'Cause-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, we put a
This
little
year
bit more
this
into
year
it.
we're-
Right.
This year we're doing it on our own, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the plan. Yeah.
Okay. And is there any like a documentation or any reporting? Like, do they send a report saying, this is kind of what we've been talking about, or progress, or anything like that?
Pam, I do a checkpoint. I try. You have to find the right level of how to get in touch with them. That's what the quarterly sessions are for.
Gotcha.
I can see if they're scheduling as a program manager. I'll be able to see if they've scheduled through here, if they've been meeting. I also send them checkpoints, which Rennie has set up in the system. I try to send them out every 4 to 6 weeks. How you doing? Any issues? Have you been meeting? Did you do your agreement?
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll do a checkpoint every couple of weeks.
And it's all within this technology.
Yeah, I edited my checkpoints a little bit, but they're all in through here. You can see this person has a checkpoint. They didn't start it yet.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay.
And it's just really to let the mentoring program manager know,
Right.
how you doing.
Right.
If you need any help.
Uh-huh.
Both the mentees and mentors get that.
I'm sorry, did I miss it when you went over it?
No, both of them get that. The mentees and
Okay.
mentors will both
Okay.
get the checkpoint. So we're just trying to check in with them
Okay.
and make sure we don't leave them alone, and we don't want to be bothering them as much. So we kind of have to find that right balance.
Sure.
But definitely checking in with them and doing the quarterly sessions, I think, was really important. I mean, some people will do a quarterly session like we're doing it now, just have all the mentees or mentors call. We happen to have done it that we bring them back into the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I think our first session we completed. We got some good feedback, good relationship building. A lot of people who worked across departments benefited. Their relationship will continue, after the program through work assignments. I think it was very positive. That was our goal, developing yourself. We got some good feedback in our evaluations.
Awesome. Well, this was great. I think that you covered a lot, and I'm sure that as we go through the process that we will definitely, have a lot of questions and whatnot. And
What are you up to?
we're not up to anything yet.
Okay.
First,
So just getting you committed.
Yep, just getting that financial commitment done
Okay.
first.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And then once we get that in play, then we'll get the ball rolling, and we'll start with developing the program, and then setting a date for launch and launching. So, so we're still at the very baby steps.
Okay. So you can call us when you get to the next step, Tony.
Okay, sounds good.
I want to
Well-
thank everybody. Tony, I want to thank you. Jane, Nancy, this is Rhonda. I have to move on to another meeting,
Mhm.
but I'm glad, I was able to, participate in this session because it's very informational.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks,
all.
everybody.
Appreciate it.
You're
Yeah,
very
and
welcome.
thanks Pam for sitting in for
Okay.
Pam, it's good hearing from you. I haven't seen you for a
Yeah.
while.
I know. It's nice to look at something other than
Yeah.
PeopleSoft. That I could tell you.
Oh, fun.
Amen.
That
Amen,
I could
Pam.
tell you. It's very, very refreshing.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, all right,
Well,
great.
all
Thank you
right.
so much.
All right.
All right,
Thank
take care.